Minnesota Vikings fans, I have been sitting here thinking about our squad, and honestly, the waiting game for QB1 is starting to test my patience. Something just developed regarding the competition that could shake up everything we thought we knew about this roster. What makes this interesting is the mystery behind why the coaching staff is holding off on making a final call until training camp pads go on. The more details come out, the harder it is to ignore the pressure building behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's dive in. Skol. The Minnesota Vikings are currently stuck in a high-stakes quarterback standoff between veteran Kyler Murray and our promising young talent J.J. McCarthy, a situation that has dominated every conversation in Egan. After a whirlwind offseason, Kyler Murray arrived in Minnesota with massive expectations, looking to provide the veteran stability we desperately need after years of roster turnover. Meanwhile, J.J. McCarthy is the homegrown hopeful who has been working tirelessly to refine his mechanics, specifically his ability to layer the ball, a vital skill that hampered his rookie performance. Now here's the thing. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler recently reported that our head coach Nolan Teasley is refusing to name a starter until he sees both guys competing in pads during training camp. This decision is entirely based on feel, as the coaching staff wants to see how these signal callers handle real contact before committing. And honestly, while the consensus around the league remains that Murray is the heavy favorite to win the job, the latest reports indicate that McCarthy has made massive strides in his touch and decision-making under the guidance of private coaches. That matters because if McCarthy continues to close the gap, Nolan Teasley might have a genuine headache on his hands. Let's be real, the fan base is feeling a unique blend of anxiety and excitement about this process. We are desperate for stability, yet we know how much potential is hidden in McCarthy's arm. Hearing Justin Jefferson praise his development is giving us hope that our future is bright regardless of who takes the first snap. Here is where it gets interesting, as keeping McCarthy on the bench as a future insurance policy against Murray's impending free agency could be the smartest chess move this front office has made in years. Skol. It is going to be a long summer, but we are ready for the challenge. This quarterback standoff traces back to our aggressive move to acquire Kyler Murray this offseason, a gamble designed to capitalize on the prime window of our current roster. We needed immediate production after the inconsistency of last season, leading the front office to prioritize a veteran presence while simultaneously betting on J.J. McCarthy's long-term development. With Murray entering the final year of his deal, the pressure is immense to see if his mobility and playmaking can elevate our offense under head coach Nolan Teasley. Historically, Minnesota has often struggled to bridge the gap between bridge veterans and high draft pick prospects, frequently settling for mediocrity instead of cultivating a true successor. Let's be real, the front office is likely sweating behind closed doors, weighing Murray's high cap hit against the desire to protect the long-term investment they made in McCarthy's development. That matters because if McCarthy truly has mastered the art of layering the ball, our coaching staff may be tempted to pivot sooner than anticipated. We have seen this internal tug-of-war before, where the team tries to balance winning now with developing a future face of the franchise. And honestly, the reported progress in JJ's touch passing is exactly what we needed to hear after his struggles in his first 10 starts last year. Here is where it gets interesting, as this competition for QB1 isn't just about training camp performance, but about organizational philosophy regarding patience versus urgency. Now here's the thing. If McCarthy proves he can command the huddle while Murray plays for his next contract, the Vikings will face an incredibly difficult choice regarding who takes the first snap against our division rivals. Regardless of who starts, we have to demand greatness because, for us Minnesota Vikings fans, anything less than a deep playoff run is simply not gonna cut it this season. Skol. The current quarterback uncertainty between Kyler Murray and JJ. McCarthy is the biggest story of our summer, and honestly, we need to address why this competition is defining our trajectory. That matters because the decision hinges on whether we want immediate veteran stability or the high ceiling of a developing young talent who has finally mastered his layering techniques. Here is where it gets interesting for our depth chart, as naming a starter allows Nolan Teasley to solidify the offensive line rotations and distribute practice reps, which significantly impacts our salary cap flexibility by dictating whether we keep both high-earning passers on the active roster through the final cutdown. Let's be real, this choice dictates our strategy against Ben Johnson and his revamped Bears squad, as we need a quarterback comfortable with touch passes to beat their aggressive secondary in our critical division showdowns. If McCarthy continues this rapid ascent, we might secure a more dynamic offensive identity, shifting our standing in the NFC North from fringe contenders to favorites, provided our signal caller can navigate complex defensive schemes. Now here's the thing, if Murray struggles, our ability to pivot to a polished McCarthy could save our playoff hopes in December, especially when we face tough road environments in New England or Tennessee. We are entering a pivotal stretch where every snap in training camp carries weight for our postseason aspirations. If Nolan Teasley waits too long to commit, we risk losing rhythm, but if he hits the mark, this team could surprise the entire league. As Minnesota Vikings fans, we know the expectations are championship or bust, and we need the right leader to command this huddle. We are all waiting for that final verdict, but for now, we keep cheering, trusting in the process, and shouting Skol as we prepare for another exciting year of professional football in the North. On one side, we have a clear path to stability by naming Kyler Murray our starting quarterback because his veteran experience and raw athleticism provide an immediate winning floor for a roster that is ready to compete right now. That matters because Coach Nolan Teasley needs to maximize our current window while Justin Jefferson is in his prime, and Murray represents the safest bet to execute the offense efficiently from day one. But on the other side, the risk involves stunting the growth of JJ. McCarthy, who has shown massive improvements in his ability to layer the football and vary his throwing speeds after putting in serious work this offseason. Holding McCarthy back could lead to frustration or stalled development, especially if we have no intention of utilizing his unique ceiling this year. Around the league, analysts are buzzing about this competition, with many outsiders like Jeremy Fowler suggesting that most executives expect Murray to hold the job, yet they are simultaneously impressed by how much McCarthy has refined his touch to move beyond just throwing fastballs. Here is where it gets interesting because we have to decide if we are building for the long term or playing for the now. Let's be real, the front office is clearly hedging their bets in case Murray departs in free agency next spring, which creates a fascinating internal dynamic that will likely bleed into the preseason games. Personally, I think we should let the competition play out through the final whistle of the preseason, but if JJ shows even a flash of that elite potential, we must be brave enough to hand him the keys early. If we stifle a budding star for a bridge player, we might regret it when the 2027 season arrives. Skol! The bigger picture for the Minnesota Vikings franchise is all about building a sustainable foundation for long-term success under head coach Nolan Teasley, which explains the calculated patience regarding the quarterback room. By delaying the decision between Kyler Murray and JJ McCarthy until they hit the field in pads, the organization is ensuring that whoever takes the snaps is fully prepared to execute the offensive vision. That matters because we are looking at a pivotal era where the front office must determine if we have a veteran bridge or a franchise cornerstone ready to lead us into the 2027 season and beyond. As Minnesota Vikings fans, we should feel optimistic rather than frustrated. Here is where it gets interesting because JJ McCarthy is finally showing the refined mechanics and ball layering necessary to thrive in this scheme, proving he is listening to the coaching staff. And honestly, having two capable arms competing is a luxury most teams lack. Let's be real, even if Murray wins the job as expected, McCarthy showing immense growth gives us a fantastic contingency plan in case of injury or future roster changes. Now here is the thing, we are in a great spot regardless of who starts. It is about trust in the process that Teasley has installed, as we finally have a roster capable of competing with the top teams in the league. With this high level of competition, the offense should be dynamic enough to keep us in every single game this year. What is your gut telling you about who should take the first snap for this team when the season opener finally arrives? Let us know your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Skol! I'll see you in the next one.